Marcus remembers the gas station, not the one from last week or last month, the one from years ago. Card in the reader, line behind him, the arithmetic happening in his head that could not finish fast enough. The screen saying declined, everyone watching. He thinks about that gas station sometimes, not with pain anymore, with a kind of quiet disbelief at the distance between that moment and this one. Because Marcus is a millionaire now. Not the kind from the movies with a helicopter and the offshore accounts and the assistant who schedules the other assistant. Just a millionaire. Clean and quiet and real. 7 figures. More money than his parents ever held in a lifetime of work. More than he believed was possible when he was choosing between the name brand cereal and the one in the plastic bag that tasted like cardboard. He remembers eating that cereal standing over the sink because the table had bills on it. Not decorative mail, not things he forgot to open. The kind of bills that made his chest tight the moment he saw the envelope. The kind he put face down so he did not have to look at the numbers while he ate his breakfast before a job he did not love in a city that did not care about him. That was 7 years ago. It does not matter exactly how long it took. What matters is that he is here now. 7 figures. And this is what that actually looks like. The first thing Marcus noticed was the silence. Not the silence of an empty room. The silence of a phone that stopped ringing with bad news. No more calls from the bank. No more voicemails sitting for 3 days because he already knew what they were going to say. His account used to carry a specific kind of dread. He would open the app and close it fast, like looking away from something that hurt. He would check the number and immediately stop looking at it. He opens the app now and just looks at it. He reads the number slowly. He stays on the screen. Then he closes it and goes to make coffee. That is the first thing the million gave him. Not the money. The silence where the panic used to live. Something else shifted not long after. Subtle at first. Marcus goes to dinner with people he has known for years and picks up the check. Not because anyone asked, because he can. And the math is easy now, and $30 is nothing. He remembers when $30 was a real decision, when $30 meant rice for the rest of the week. So he grabs the check and waves off the protests, and everyone laughs and moves on. Except they do not fully move on. He notices it in the parking lot after. Someone makes a comment that is almost a joke but has something underneath it. Something that sounds like resentment wearing a smile. Marcus files it away, tells himself he imagined it. He did not imagine it. The second thing that changes is how people talk to Marcus about money. More precisely, how they stop talking to him about it directly and start talking around it. His cousin mentions his car is giving him trouble. Does not ask for anything. Just mentions it twice. A friend brings up student loans in every conversation now, not looking for advice. Looking for Marcus to do the math himself and arrive at the conclusion on his own. And here is the part nobody warns about. Marcus genuinely wants to help. He knows what it feels like to lie awake over a car repair he cannot afford. He knows the specific feeling in his stomach when something breaks and he has to just live with the broken thing because there is no other option, so he helps. He covers the car, he sends something toward the loans, he pays a family member's medical bill because he saw it on the counter during a visit and the number was nothing to him but everything to them. Then he waits for it to feel the way he thought it would feel. Close. Warm. Like the gap between him and the people he loves has gotten smaller. It does not feel like that. It feels complicated. Some of them say thank you and mean it and the moment is real. But some go quiet in a way that is hard to explain. A kind of dignity bruised in the transaction. A distance that opened where closeness was supposed to be. Because money between people who love each other is never just money. It is a ledger of who has more and who has less, and what that means about each person. And once that ledger is open, it is very hard to close. Marcus moves out of the apartment, not into anything excessive, just somewhere without a mold problem in the bathroom and a neighbor playing music until 2 in the morning. A place with light and space and a kitchen with enough counter to actually cook in. He tells himself it is just practical. It is practical. But it is also the first physical sign of the distance between the life he has now and the life he came from. The old neighborhood and the new one are not far apart on a map. They are very far apart in every other way that matters. Marcus visits his parents on a Sunday. Sits in the kitchen he grew up in. Coffee and conversation, and everything looks the same as it always has. Same refrigerator magnets, same dish rack. Same light coming through the same window the same way it always did. He loves this room. He has always loved this room. But something is different. Not in the room, in him. He is sitting in it differently now. Noticing things he never noticed before. Calculating things without meaning to. How much the kitchen could use in updates. How the roof looked when he pulled in. Whether the furnace is old. He used to just sit in this kitchen. Now he surveys it. And he hates that about himself a little but cannot turn it off. His mother slides something across the table. A clipping from the local paper. An article about someone from town who built something. She is proud of him. She is showing him she sees him. It is the most generous thing she knows how to do. Marcus folds the clipping and puts it in his pocket and drinks his coffee and stays for 2 hours because the staying is what matters. Not the renovations he could fund or the money he could throw at the house. The staying. He drives home and takes the long way. Here is what none of the millionaire content ever talks about. The videos and the podcasts and the books with the words about abundance and freedom and the life you deserve. Nobody mentions the identity problem. For a very long time, being broke was not just Marcus's financial situation. It was his personality. It was his sense of humor. It was the thing that made him sharp and creative and resourceful and scrappy. Being broke taught him how to read a room, how to figure out who had the real power in any situation, how to make something from nothing, how to talk to anyone because he had to, because he could not afford to be selective about who he spent his time with. And now the thing that shaped him is gone. And he is supposed to just be grateful. He is grateful. But he is also slightly unmoored in a way that does not have a clean name. He catches himself apologizing for things he does not need to apologize for. He walks into rooms and leads with where he came from instead of where he is, because where he came from still feels more real. More like the true version of him. The money is new. The struggle was a decade long. He knows which one sits deeper. So he builds a version of himself that holds both. He stops pretending one cancels the other out. The work changes too. That is the part that surprises Marcus most. When he had nothing, work had a clear purpose. Work so the bad things did not happen. Work so the lights stayed on and the rent was covered. The stakes were obvious. The motivation was gravity. Pure and simple and relentless. Now the stakes are different, which means he has to find a different reason to work. And that is harder than it sounds. Working for survival is easy to understand. You do not have to convince yourself to do it. Working for meaning, for growth, for something that will outlast you, that requires a completely different engine. Building that engine takes time and failure, and a lot of mornings sitting at a desk having to remind himself why any of this matters when the basic pressure is gone. Some days he gets it right. The work feels like the most alive he has ever been. He is building something real and compounding and playing a longer game than he ever could have when he was just trying to survive the week. Other days he drifts. He scrolls. He confuses motion with progress. The urgency that used to push him through every obstacle is simply not there in the same way, and he has to learn to manufacture discipline from something other than desperation. That is a skill. It takes time to learn. 6 months in, Marcus meets someone at a dinner. Grew up with money. Not excessive money. Just comfortable, quiet, always there money. The kind where college was a given and emergencies were inconveniences rather than catastrophes. Smart and generous, and Marcus likes him. Then he says something that stops Marcus. He says he has always wanted to know what it was really like to have to fight for something. He means it as a compliment. Marcus knows that. But he sits with it for a while after, because what this man is describing as a romantic adventure was just Marcus's Tuesday for a very long time. The fighting was not character building in the moment. In the moment, it was just exhausting. It was choosing between things that should not be choices. It was the particular humiliation of not being able to say yes to things that mattered. Marcus does not say any of this. He nods and changes the subject. But on the drive home, he thinks about how the same experience looks completely different depending on which side of it you were on. From the outside, the struggle has a kind of nobility. From the inside, it was just hard. It was just something he survived. And surviving it gave him real things. A threshold for discomfort. A sense of what actually matters. A relationship with money built on knowing exactly what it feels like to not have it. Those things are his. Nobody can abstract them away with a dinner party compliment. A year in, Marcus makes his first real investment mistake. Not catastrophic, but significant. Enough to hurt. Enough to make him go quiet for a few days doing the math over and over, waiting for the number to change. The old version of Marcus, the broke version, would have spiraled. Would have turned it into evidence of everything. Proof he did not deserve this. Proof it was all going to fall apart. Proof that people like him do not actually get to keep things like this. But something is different now. He takes the loss, sits with it, learns what he can from it, then he moves. Not because he is fearless, because he has built enough of a foundation that one mistake is not the whole story. He has margin now, not infinite margin, not billionaire margin, but enough. Enough to absorb a hit and keep going. Enough to treat failure as data rather than verdict. That is not a small thing. That is the whole game. 2 years and someone younger comes to Marcus. Someone who is where he was, behind on everything, exhausted in that specific bone-level way that only comes from financial stress. They want to know how he did it. They want the system and the strategy and the steps. And Marcus wants to give it to them. He wants to lay out the exact path, the decisions and the timing and the things he did right. But the honest answer is messier than that. The honest answer is that he did a lot of things right and a lot of things wrong, and the margin between the two was thinner than he would like to admit. That luck was involved. Not the whole story, but not nothing. That timing mattered. That relationships mattered in ways he did not fully understand while they were happening. That the version of him who made it was built by a version of him who had no idea he was building anything. So he tells them what is true. He tells them to get obsessively specific about the number they need. Not the dream number. The floor number. The number that makes the bad things stop. He tells them to protect their energy like it is the most valuable currency they have, because when you are broke, it is. He tells them that the most important financial decision they will ever make is learning the difference between an expense and an investment. And he tells them that the hardest part is not the strategy. It is learning to believe it is actually possible before there is any evidence that it is. They write some of it down. Marcus hopes it helps. He remembers that nobody can give you a shortcut through the part that changes you. You have to walk the whole road yourself. 3 years and Marcus sits in his parents' kitchen again. They are older now. The kitchen is the same. The magnets are the same. The light through the window is the same. But he is not calculating anything this time. He has gotten better at that. His father tells a story Marcus has heard before. Something from before he was born. Tells it the same way he always does. Laughs in the same place. His mother adds the same details she always adds. It is a very ordinary Sunday. Marcus has had extraordinary Sundays since the money came. Sundays in other countries. Sundays on water. Sundays inside experiences most people will never have. This one is better. Not because it is simple, because it is real. Because the people in this kitchen loved him before the number in his account had 6 figures or 7 or any figures worth talking about. They loved him in the plastic bag cereal years. In the face down, bills years. In the years when he was just a person trying not to drown. Marcus is a millionaire. The number is real. The work was real. The cost of it was real in ways he is still understanding. He is not the person he was before the money. He is also not the person he feared he might become. He is something in between. Someone who remembers the weight of the thing that is now gone and does not take the lightness for granted. Some mornings he still opens the banking app and looks at the number slowly. Not with dread. Not even with excitement anymore. Just with quiet recognition. He earned this. He survived the years that built him into someone who could. The plastic bag cereal years. The face-down bills years. The years when $1 million was so abstract it might as well have been a number from another universe. It was not from another universe. It was just from a version of his life he had not reached yet. He closes the app and goes to make coffee. Outside, the city moves the way it always moves. Indifferent. Loud. Full of people somewhere in the middle of their own story. Marcus is still going. If this video hit something real for you, subscribe. Next week, we are going into the specific decisions Marcus made in year 1 that separated the path to $1 million from the path to nowhere. The moves were not complicated. Most people just never make them. See you there.